Hey guys, this is Donna. Welcome back. This is day 473 of doing these lives. I'm very excited. Still on the topic of the book, Three Steps to a Strong Family. And as you know, this is by Stephen Covey. We have been dissecting the beginning parts of this book so you can gain a better understanding as to what actually leads up to establishing a sound foundation in your household with your children. So last night, what I spoke on yesterday, if you didn't get a chance to listen in, I touched on consequences. So like anything in life, when you do things, there's consequences that you have to face. So we touched on that last night as it pertains to children in the household and what actually happens when they don't follow through and do the chores that they're asked to do. So we spoke on that yesterday, and I broke down quite a few things as it pertained to this topic directly from his book. I also read a story that gave you a better understanding of how to capture the consequences guideline and how it meshed into the story. So I read that to you. So if you didn't get a chance to watch it live last night, understand that every consequence has a penalty. And once the children actually receive the penalty, then chances are they may or they may not straighten up a little bit based on what penalty you have for them. But remember, last night we talked about penalty should never be a what do you call it? A democracy. It should not be pounding. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Damon. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. So penalties when you're caring for your children should never be a democracy. You do as I say, and that's how it is. We spoke on that last night. So it definitely has to be a shared responsibility between your children and yourself, because you're not going to get anywhere fast if you're going to tell them what to do. You have to allow them to have participation in the process. So tonight, as I mentioned, there are about 5 different steps to creating a great family law, right? And what I'm doing now is I'm covering the 5 steps. We spoke a little bit also on under consequences last night of peace and how that creates peace in the household, right? We also spoke about asking, and we touched on that yesterday. And we're going to talk about order tonight. How does family law, when you get family law in order, that's like a, yeah. When your family law is together, right, then you establish order. Okay, so we're going to speak on order tonight. So just as a recap, it is important for us to pretty much have a connection between clear consequences and also behavior. When your children behave whatever way that they want and you have no place that you draw on those boundaries that's within a good distance, if you let those boundaries extend way past where they're supposed to and you try to reel it in like a fish line, then chances are you might be a little bit too late. So you have to know where to draw the line, right? So when you connect clear consequences and to behavior, then things begin to fall in line exactly where they're supposed to for you, right? So for example, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. The penalty basically of a messy room is what? What do you have them do? Your children have a messy room. Everything's out of order. How do you work with having them deal with the consequences of having that room out of order, right? So you want to make sure that they straighten up their room. That's the whole idea, right? And then one example is, let's say they are supposed to make their bed, right, before they go to school, and they don't make their bed, and they go to school anyway. Then what's going to happen? You have to make sure they come back the following day and make their bed before they participate in any activities that you know that's fun for them, right? So if TV watching is a privilege when homework is done and they didn't complete their homework, hi Body by Bella, hi Wanda, thank you for joining, then what has to happen? No TV watching until the homework is finished, right? So the thing, what generally happens is when you give them a leeway and you're nice to them, you say, oh, it's okay, I'll let you watch TV this time. Then this time becomes into 5, 6, 7, and 8 times, right? So they have to understand that if they don't hold up their end of the bargain, then something else is coming right behind it. But here's the problem. A lot of people aren't serious with what comes behind it, right? They tell them, listen, Johnny, listen, Teresa, this is going to happen if you don't clean up your room. And then you don't clean up, the child don't clean up the room, and you don't go back on, you don't hold your word sound and go back and tell them, listen, I promised you, you would never watch another movie for the whole week. if you didn't clean up your room. You have to make sure you follow up on that as a parent, because if you don't do that, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. And they're going to laugh at you. They're going to go behind closed door and say, ah, ha, ha, got over on her this time, got over on him this time, right? Hi, Willie. Thanks for joining. Welcome, welcome. So I gave you 2 examples. The third example I have for you is a missed curfew. Your child missed the curfew, right? And they say, mom and dad won't mind. I'm just going to come home whenever I want to come home. Okay, so they missed the curfew. Then basically the next time they come to you and they try to go out again, what do you think should happen as a parent? You look at them and say, listen, I told you to come back by 10 o'clock and you came back 10:01. So guess what? The next outing, you won't be able to attend. And you want to make sure that's painfully clear to them, because like I said, they're going to see how far they can push the envelope next time to see how much they can get away with, so that again, they're going to go behind closed doors. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to laugh at you because you're trying to be nice, mom and dad. And in the meantime, they're going, ha, 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 just got over on them again. So make sure that you're holding true on your words with them, because this will help. So we're on the topic of order tonight, and this is actually relatively a short section. What's going to take just a second is just to read you the story, but the stories make sense, because then you'll understand how order ties into this particular family situation, right? So basically, just as a summary, each activity should be done in the proper order, in the proper sequence, all right? So with the example that I just gave, typically in the islands, any one of the islands, what we are accustomed to is making your bed before you go out and go to work and go do whatever you're doing. You're supposed to make your bed, put the pillows on the bed, right? And then you make sure your room is nice and tidy. I don't know how many people do that here in the U.S. I'm going to be honest with you. That's not a big thing, but I do see a lot of people doing it, right? But that was one of the family traditions that I was brought up with. You want to make sure when you leave your place, you leave it nice and clean when you come back. So you can come back in a comfy bed, if that makes any sense to you, right? So that's one of the things. So you make up your bed before you leave. That's a form of order. We're talking about order here tonight, all right? So order basically is done in the proper sequence, the proper timing. For example, maybe you leave and you want to make sure that the kitchen is nice and clean before you leave. And I just had a thought, but I'm not going to share that with you guys. I'm not going to share that with you guys. Make sure the kitchen is clean before you leave, right? Because you want to make sure when you come back to a tidy place and you're able to prepare your nice meal. And you prepare a nice meal, and that way you don't have to worry about cleaning up first and then cooking after. So there's an order for everything that we do in life. And it just doesn't stem with children. We're on the topic of children and creating a sound family structure. It's just not with that. It's with many things that we do in life. What would happen if you were born into this world as an adult and you go back to being a child? Now, there's 2 ways you can look at that, because there's a saying, once a man, twice a child. You come in as a child, and when you get older, right, you take care of your children, and as you get older, your children are going to end up taking care of you. So be careful how you treat them when they're younger, or they'll threaten to put you in the senior home, right? So once a man, twice a child is one thing we typically say, and that basically means that when you're caring for them, at some point you're going to get older enough where they're going to the tables are going to be turned and they're going to be taking care of you. So make sure that you're treating them right, right? But that goes 2 ways, like I said. So you take care of your child when they grow up, but you can't come into this world as an adult. It just doesn't make sense. You can't physically come in as a big person and get small again. The poor moms will be in trouble, right? There are some moms, though, I can attest to that have big children when they're born, but not that big where they're an adult. So listen, there's an order and a sequence for everything that we do in life. And what I'm going to do now is just read you one of the stories that they have here. There's actually 2 short stories, and then you'll understand, you'll be able to tie this in a little bit better. So here we go. So like every other parent I've known, we wanted our children to be tidy. Only we went to the extremes. We tried everything. We had a system where if you left something out and someone else put it away, you owed him a quarter. That's a nice thing. For a while, if you found someone else stuff out, you threw it on their bed, so they had to put it away before they could go to sleep. That's a nice thing, right? You have them trapped. So that way they definitely have to, they can't go to bed unless they clear off the bed, right? So we invented a gunny bag, a laundry bag with painted on eyes and nose and a drawstring mouth, who lived in the attic and came down and ate toys, clothes that were left out. We even remodeled and reorganized our house so that the kids' clothes were stored in the laundry room so that they weren't any clothes in the bedrooms to get thrown around and stepped on. All of the ideas worked a little bit for a little while, but the old family law, of course, is the constant. Over time, it has done the most good. All right. So, hi, Catherine. Welcome. Thank you for joining. So, sometimes the law of order needs to be supplemented with examples, some examples, and some extra recognition. Here is another story I'm going to share with you, and then I'm going to wrap it up. All right. So, this one's pretty interesting. I remembered one day I must have been about 9 years old when we had a big family talk about order. Things were always messy, and I think Mom was ready to give up on us. Anyway, I remember Dad having a big talk with us about pride and about the joy we feel when we work hard and we can feel proud of a nice, clean room. Then he did something that seemed really strange. He invited us into his room to watch him clean it. He kept saying things like, "Ooh, I feel so good when this closet is organized," or, I'm proud of that sock drawer. When he was done, he put a sign on the door that said pride. Somehow the concept really sunk in. All the nagging and you have to clean your room before you can go and play hadn't made us want to change. So we kept our messy ways. But when I grasped the idea, the vision of my own room, my own things all neat and ordered, I wanted to see it actually happen. I wanted to earn a pride sign for my bedroom door. I wanted people to be able to walk in and say, "Wow, what a nice room this is." Anyway, following this meeting, Shawnee and I decided to go for the pride sign. We cleaned for what seemed like an hour and hours. We sorted things out. We even cleaned out under the beds. We were doing something. When we got done and when we gave Mom and Dad a little tour, what a sense of accomplishment that was. They commented on how nice each aspect of the room looked. They let us show them under the beds. They rejoiced in ourselves of lined up toys. They even marveled over our bed making attempts. Although I'm sure that the although I'm sure lumped up blankets showed through the bedspread. So they had something they were striving for, these children, right? And what their dad did was reverse the roles so that they can see how it was to clean a room and not make it seem like it was so treacherous, right? It could be an exciting venture depending on how you look at it. And besides, they wanted to also have that sense of accomplishment, right? When they were finished, they get the pride sign on the outside of their door and show it off to everyone else. So what a great example to show. Because sometimes as parents, guys, listen, you can talk, you can talk, you can talk, you can talk till you're blue in the face. And sometimes you're wondering, why is it that these children can't get it? I tell them the same thing about 10 times, right? And they look at you like, yes, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. But they don't get it. So sometimes there has to be a reward. I like that idea about collecting money every time something is not accomplished, because guess what? They don't like to part ways with any kind of money either. Even if it's just a quarter or $1, right? They start to straighten up real quick because they realize their pocket is going to get a little bit empty before it's all said and done. So that may give you some ideas for your existing family. And remember, although I'm talking about children, it's not necessarily children that are 5, 6, 7 years old. You guys have adult children, I'm sure most of you. So it goes the same. Children, their frontal lobe does not develop until the age of 25. When I did the whole live segment on the brain, this is the frontal lobe, just in case you're wondering. It doesn't develop fully until 25. These children, even though you're telling them things, they get it, but it's not sinking in as strong as it really should be, like you want it to sink in. But there's going to be a day when they're going to wake up and say, you know what? That's easy to do. Why didn't I think of that before? You've been telling them all along, right? So I wanted to share that with you tonight on order. And basically, we felt pride. We got a sign on our door. I didn't think our room was ever a total mess again. It was ours and it was clean. So they took ownership. It felt better, and life goes on. Then they move on to the next topic of concern that they have in the household that also needs to be worked on. So that's what I want to share with you tonight on order. Tomorrow I will be speaking on respect. Woo! Respect is a big thing. And I don't know how many of you tuned in on the lives that I did on relationship between man and woman. The number one thing that a man desires, if you don't know, ladies, is respect. They don't care if you love them. They just want respect. So we're going to touch on respect tomorrow and how that correlates with the children in your household and how this helps to stabilize a nice, strong family grounding process and also keeps the family laws in order so that when everyone's following the family laws, there's still that sense of accomplishment, the sense of involvement, the sense of, you know, their parents aren't telling them what to do, but really asking and getting them engaged in the process. So there's a way to do and say everything in life. And as long as you learn that, you'll find out that relationships become so much more easy to manage. All right. So tomorrow, guys, I'll be speaking on respect. If you loved what you heard tonight, please comment. Just place your comment there. You know how I feel about that thumbs up, but you know, not Google, but Facebook doesn't give you an option sometime. I'd rather you put a love on there and put your notes on there. Share this with someone in your circle, a family member or a friend that you know have children that's having a hard time right now. But the reason I'm on the topic of family is because we're all stuck together. So why not utilize this as a better time to really get involved with everyone in the household, learn new traditions, you know, get to know your children. So many of you are always working and you're running in and you're running out, you're going to work, you're going there, and you don't even know what they look like. You're like, that's my son. That's my daughter. Wait a minute. Okay? You sure you're my daughter? You don't know what they look like, right? And that's because society keeps us in that mode. And I'm not going to say it's fully society's fault. We have control over that. But sometimes God has a way of just seizing everything so that we can take another look, take like 10 steps back to take another 15 steps forward. And now is the time. So I've been touching on family because now more than ever that you guys are all engaged with each other. It's good to get to know your family again. It's a nice thing, right? So my name is Donna Sharp. In case you've never been on with me before, I am your transformational and wellness life coach. I am here to teach you everything from how to foster a good mindset to getting a nice physical body to also eating it nutritionally. Sometimes I tease you guys with the meals that I prep. I might post the one that we did tonight on there and let you guess what it is. It's going to be funny to see that. So I am here to teach you how to live a holistic life naturally, because now more than ever with everything that we have going on, it is super, super important to establish a strong immune system. And if you hadn't been doing this months and years prior to now, it is never too late. So make sure you have the right ingredients in your home to keep your body strong. So I will be back again tomorrow. As you know, this is day 473 of me doing these lives consistently since January of 2019. It is my absolute pleasure to always be here because I'm very passionate about what I do. Please log on to holisticwellbeing.com, and it's spelled with a W, WHOLELISTIC, wellbeing.com. And there you'll find out why I'm so passionate about what I do. So until tomorrow, guys, Catherine, thank you so much for joining. Willie, thank you for joining. I do pray you guys had a fantastic day and you're getting your nice decorative mask, because you know we're going to be mandated permanently to wear these masks for quite some times. So Bodied by Bella, thank you so much for joining. Miss Wanda, thank you for joining and always for your support as well. Teresa, it's so great to see you. I saw you post something the other day. Teresa and I go way back in school. Way back in school. And Damon, as always. Damon, you didn't give me any hearts tonight. What's up with that, man? All right. Maybe you're sleepy. I don't know. So, guys, I love you all. Please stay safe and make the smart decision. And I'll be back again here tomorrow, day 474 to join. Have a fantastic night. Ciao.